All right. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Starting off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory. It goes to YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, brakathum to the hopeful elect. Shalom, shalom. This the brother Taziyar Benyamin from the GMS Kansas City Church. And I'm back with another lesson. Today is May 11th. Looking like Monday. Looking like Small Hat Monday. And Thwada YAHAWASHI for allowing me to keep the spirit, to continue to push this edification, to push this exposure, bringing hashtag them people who are the biblical Amalekites, who the world calls J-ish people today. All right, the J-ish people are not the chosen people, but instead they are the children of Satan, walking about this planet Earth, executing the will of Satan, and worshiping Satan himself, man. So, in this clip, we get a compilation of videos showing the world how hashtag them people are, ruining the earth every day. Okay, but the lies and the deception that they have built, the political state of Israel on, is being exposed, and parts of that come from the efforts of the men of Great Millstone and also, other Israelite camps. But being honest, other Israelite camps don't get on the small hat as much as GMS does, man. And that may have something to do with y'all being, bought and sold out, man. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get into these videos, man. 1 second. Now, this is not a recent video, but it still shows the behaviors of these people. So it looks like they're at a food bank. You know what I'm saying? They're at a food bank, but yet I can't turn the audio off. Yet they're at a food bank, but yet, here they are destroying the food. Okay, and the scriptures speak on ones that have shown no mercy, man. And the small hat, hashtag them people, they have definitely shown no mercy, not only to the Palestinians, but also to the true biblical Israelites, who are the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans today, man. So let's get that precept. Okay, this is the book of James, chapter 2, verse 13. For he shall have judgment without mercy that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. Okay, so hashtag them people, they have shown no mercy to the different, nations and peoples of the world. So when the Most High comes back, he's not going to show mercy upon them. All right, because the scriptures say the Most High himself will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Exodus 17 and 16. For he said, because the Lord YAHAWAH has sworn that the Lord YAHAWAH will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. Okay, but the war is about to be ended, man. But hashtag them people have had war with us, or they have had war with the Most High by afflicting us. Okay? So let's continue. All right. And kind, man. So you see the spirit. Okay? You see the spirit of what's going on. Skirmishes, uprisings, protests. You know, and I've said it in previous Small Hat Monday lessons. That, you know, the controversy or the division between, you know, supporting hashtag them people or supporting the Muslim world or Palestinians or Iran, this is going to create rifts and division here in America, which will fuel the second American Civil War, which is soon to take place, man. But you have these uprisings, you have these skirmishes. This took place May 6th, so that was last Wednesday. All right, this wasn't even on the weekend. This was on a Wednesday. All right. But now that the war has calmed down, you know, you would think that the tensions would calm down, but it hasn't. It's only picked up. So once the United States make their move, because guess what? They're going to do a ground invasion, bro. And you heard it here from the prophets. Once the tensions pick up and military starts moving militarily on Iran, then you will have more riots, you have more protests, you have more skirmishes, some of which will turn bloody, man. Okay? Because the whole time you have this ceasefire, which they not able to get a deal done. But the whole time you have this ceasefire, do you think America started withdrawing troops? Do you think they started to chill and you say, you know what, we probably got ourselves into something that we probably can't get out of? No. All right, as I have in one of these videos, these niggas sent more equipment. They sent more planes. They sent tanks. They sent troops over there to Western Asia while this whole ceasefire is going on. So really what they're doing is taking time to tactically plan their ground invasion, man, which a lot of you Americans will be slaughtered in. Okay?
A warmonger. It's not. I mean, Churchill, without cell phones and without digital campaigns and farm bots, was labeled a warmonger in the 1930s because he said you have to stand up to Hitler. Right. And they accused him of being a warmonger. And Hitler didn't even say death to America, death to Britain, you know. I think he might have planned it, but he didn't say it. In other words, we have seen the deterioration of the support for Israel in the United States almost, I would say it correlates almost 100% with the geometric rise of social media. And that by itself is not what caused it. And I don't believe in, in censoring them or anything, but I'll tell you what happened. We have several countries that basically manipulated social media with bot farms, with fake addresses to break the American sympathy to Israel, to break the American-Israeli alliance because they think it's in their interests. And they do it in a clever way. It's like you hear a text message. I'm a red-blooded Texan. I always supported Israel, but I can't stand what they're doing. I'm turning against Israel. And then you trace the address to some basement in Pakistan, And that's something that has hurt us badly. While we were fighting the physical military battle on 7 battlefields, 7-front war, we were completely exposed on the 8th front. The media war, really the social media war. Anti-Semitism, this vile vilification of the Jews, took a reprieve after the Holocaust. It took a reprieve. It took 80 years. It wasn't fashionable to be anti-Semitic, so you didn't say these things in polite society. But it's come back. It's almost like it accompanies us throughout.
What is that about, Mr. Prime Minister?
I think...
Because I want to stop you right there, because in my career, which started in 1990 in Washington, up until very recently, it was an established fact in Congress. Established fact. The Republicans and Democrats had a default proposition favorable to Israel. Not always, not universally, but a default proposition that began with yes. That's not true anymore. That's less true than at any other time I've covered Washington. That has to be reflective of something else.
Yes, it is. Well, these are historical cycles, which
so
my
you're in a
father...
historical cycle.
Yes, we are. I mean, anti-Semitism is...
It had been flowed, yes.
Yeah, it had been flowed, but it flowed throughout our history. And I mean, church...
All right. And so this devil knows he can't control the social media. He just told you that. I'm going to replay it once I get done speaking, but he just told you that they're fighting all these wars, but they can't control the social media war. All right, because it's too much information coming out. And videos like this help contribute to that. Because for every brother that watches this video and gets the real inside scoop of how hashtag them people are moving in this earth is another, person that is seeing the truth that these people are no good. These people are warmongers. They are PEDOs. They are Satan worshipers. Okay, they will blow up your whole family. They will lock you up and have you get raped by dogs. And these things I've spoken on. These things I put in the videos. All right. So this is why they have to take down the internet. All right, and we are forcing their hand to take down the internet by doing these lessons. And the YAHAWAH, who the world calls God, and YAHAWASHI, who the world calls JC, for giving us the spirit to keep exposing this man. But it's going to come down to a time where they're going to really try to silence us by taking our lives, man. And when you try to rise up and come against the prophets, you may get something that you're not asking for, man. All right, you think you coming to send us to the spirit world? You better be prepared to go to the spirit world yourself, man. But once again, they have no control over this social media, and it's hurting them, and he knows it. So let's play it again.
Without cell phones and without digital campaigns and farm bots was labeled a warmonger in the 1930s because he said you have to stand up to Hitler.
Right.
And they accused him of being a warmonger. And Hitler didn't even say death to America, death to Britain, I think he might have planned it, but he didn't say it. In other words, we have seen the deterioration of the support for Israel in the United States almost, I would say it correlates almost 100% with the geometric rise of social media. And that by itself is not what caused it. And I don't believe in, in censoring them or anything, but I'll tell you what happened. We have several countries that basically manipulated social media with bot farms, with fake addresses to break the American sympathy to Israel, to break the American-Israeli alliance because they think it's in their interests. And they do it in a clever way. It's like you hear a text message. I'm a red-blooded Texan. I always supported Israel, but I can't stand what they're doing. I'm turning against Israel. And then you trace the address to some basement in Pakistan,
the ceasefire, even before it, I've been saying since the ceasefire, even before it, the war is about to end. And since the ceasefire, I've been saying it's over. Because I just don't see there's any appetite on Trump's side to continue the war. The war's been a strategic disaster. Munition stockpiles for the US, alliances in the region. Long-term damage is gonna take years to really be fully understood. So my question to you, as just looking at the state of things now, do you think it's over? I know negotiations are ongoing and you've been very active in the scene, but realistically, do you really think we could go back to a full-blown war?
Yes, I think the chances for another U.S.-Israeli assault are high. I think it could be imminent. The United States has prepared itself, and it's been prepared for the last couple of weeks. They've brought in a lot of equipment, and the problem with your assessment is that it's based on logic, and I don't think that those who surround Trump are logical people, and of course Trump isn't either. I think this is Zionism that is the driving force, and it is pushing the United States towards war, even though it's not in the interest of the United States. It's not in the interest of anyone in this on this planet. I don't even think it's in the interest of the Israeli regime, but that's another thing. So I think the chances are quite high. It's going to become, the later the United States carries out an assault, the worse it's going to be, because as you know, the weather in the Arabian Peninsula will soon become very hot, and it's going to be very difficult to wage war under those circumstances if there's going to be a ground war. Because most of the equipment that the United States has brought into the region since the ceasefire, from what I've been told, is for ground operations. And that those troops have been brought to Kuwait, to the Emirates, and to Bahrain. There are also large numbers of jets in Qatar, in Saudi Arabia, in the Emirates. So they are poised for a major air assault, but there could also be a major ground operation as well. Of course, a major ground operation, I mean in relative terms. I don't know if it's going to happen. The reason is that no one can really tell us what goes on in the mind of Donald Trump. From what I've heard from Tucker Carlson in his interviews, even Trump recognizes that this is foolish, but he's been pushed in this direction, and I don't think the forces that started this war have gone away. When Joe Kent says in his resignation letter, a Trump appointee, the highest ranking intelligence officer in the United States, except for Tulsi Gabbard, when he says that there's no nuclear weapon, there's no Iran threat, this is all about Zionism and the Israeli regime and the Zionist lobby, I don't think that in the last 70 days or so, anything has really changed. I don't think the Zionist lobby has suddenly melted away. I know that Israel is becoming increasingly unpopular, and that the Israeli regime and Zionism is becoming increasingly unpopular, not just because of the genocide, but because of this war. But I don't think it's gone away yet. So unfortunately, I can't give a clear-cut answer, but if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I would not bet against war.
You just heard what the man said. If I was a betting man, I would not bet against war. All right, and I just, I brought that out because I mentioned beforehand that the whole time during this ceasefire, is going down, they getting reloaded. They bring in more planes to the area, and what they say, they bring in ground troops to the area, man. Okay, so while the people at home here in America struggle with high gas, high food, low wages, you know what I'm saying? they're about to get into some sticky business in Western Asia. And they're gonna say, you know what? Let's just forget about all this economic shit in America. Let's just handle Iran, man. And so what are they gonna do? They're going to take people's jobs and make you work for the war machine, man. Okay? All you niggas that's making Starbucks drinks, writing people's names on Starbucks drinks. Alright? All you professional dog walkers or a bartender, whatever the fuck you do in this world, man. The so-called white man is going to say, you know what? Fuck all that. We need you to work for the war machine because we got to stamp out Iran. And that's going to cause more hell, suffering, and revolt. Okay, but this is what the international bankers want. Okay? The world is done with America. The international bankers are done with America. This was the experiment to see how many people they can get in the country, how much influence can they get. But now it's over. They already got the bag, so they have no use for America. So what they gonna do? Depopulation, bro. All right, welcome to 2026, man. He said, if I'm a betting man, I would not bet against war.
You want me to die? Do you want me to die? I've been fighting terrorists since you were 4. I'm an IDF Special Forces reservist. You want me to die? Do you want me to die? I've been fighting terrorists since you were 4.
Israel has started funding programs that put ex-IDF soldiers on college campuses to argue with students, to clip farm them, and this is where we are. We are allowing a foreign country to send members of its foreign military to harass people all over the country for the sake of its own well-being. This is weird behavior, and it's even weirder that this is becoming normal. Could you imagine someone from China, Russia, or Iran that served in their military coming to a U.S. college campus, setting up a table to argue with students, trying to make them feel dumb and talk about how great their military is? It wouldn't happen, but here we are allowing some of the most gross, pathetic, insufferable people to come to the U.S. and take advantage of our citizens to do propaganda for their own military and country.
And guess what, man? They gonna do more than talk to students. Okay? They gonna be sending IDF, ex-IDF, Mossad, however you want to put it. They gonna send them over here to get you people in fucking line, man. All right? They are in crisis mode. They getting their ass whooped out there in Western Asia. Okay? There's been a flood of truth coming out against hashtag them people and their ways. So now what they're doing, they're sending ex-IDF to colleges. All right, hey, being honest, it's been getting a little harder and harder for me to find content for these videos. Not saying that it's not out there, but you got to search for it more. I had my algorithm kind of set up to where I was just getting fed, all week with ideas and things like that. But they put more folly on there. They diluting the social media with all kind of the other bullshit. Niggas worry about Stephon Diggs, Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? Niggas worry about all the other shit. But yet, you got IDF out here. We was told you got IDF that's working for ICE. That's why they wearing masks, man. So yeah, they gonna get you people in line, man. The best thing for Americans to do is revolt. We're gonna tell you that, man.
Israeli settlers to exhume the body of their 80-year-old family member. The deceased man's son, Mohammed. Palestinians in the West Bank described how they were forced by Israeli settlers to exhume the body of their 80-year-old family member. The deceased man's son, Mohammed Assasa, said the cemetery belongs to his village. But after the funeral near their home on Friday, armed men from the nearby Sar-Nur settlement arrived and ordered them to retrieve the body, claiming the land belonged to the settlement.
كنا ما قدامكم خيار ثاني إما بتقيموا الجثمان إما بجيب جرافة وبجرفه وبكب لكم إياه.
An Israeli military spokesperson said they did not order the family to move the remains and protected them as they relocated the body. Palestinians